welcome to Cocktail Hour. I'm Andy.
And I'm the Rev.
Well, hello and welcome to Cocktail Hour. Hey, Rev.
Hey, Andy, how are you doing tonight?
I'm really, really good. And we'll talk about why in a few minutes. I did want to mention, though, to our listeners that Rev and I weren't really all up into the whole royal wedding yesterday. But we thought, it'd be kind of nice if we could get the Queen's opinion on how everything went, and we called Buckingham Palace, and fortunately her social secretary knew of our show, and surprisingly, and surprisingly hooked us up so we could talk to, the great one, Her Royal Highness, and so now I'm going to play the listeners an excerpt of the phone call. Actually, the whole phone call. Hello.
Hello! It is Your Majesty, the Queen. I'm stopping by after a very long, grueling day. Oh, young William looked quite royal and quite handsome. And Kate, well, she looked anything but common. What? Excuse me, one moment. What? I'm on the phone now. How cruel! No, it was not a shotgun wedding. Hello, yes. Thank you, Cocktail Hour listeners, for inviting me to say a few words. So few, I'm afraid, as now I must go have a soak. Tippy tells me it's bangers and mash tonight. Hold on a moment, please. What? Why are we having commoner food? Well, cheerio, my good friends all across the pond at the Cocktail Hour. You may now rise.
Wasn't that amazing, Rev?
When I first heard it, I felt so honored, really, and I love the way that, she pronounces the name of the show. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. It's fantastic.
We were very privileged, that's for sure.
Absolutely, and I like bangers and mash. So, but I'm pretty common.
Oh, Lordy. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. So tonight's podcast is brought to you by Sex with Jennifer.
Yes, we are having sex with Jennifer tonight, and man, is she tasty.
Oh, she is. She is so tasty. I gotta tell you, she is my new favorite.
Yeah, it's really good, and there's quite a large amount of alcohol in Jennifer.
Yep.
She's a saucy bitch.
She's a saucy wench, that's for sure. As a matter of fact, I posted on Facebook when I was getting ready to indulge in my second drink. I had to, of course, make a little status update that said, "Sex with Jennifer is exquisite and reminds me of warm, muggy nights sitting outside, sipping a cold drink while telling secrets in the dark under a blanket of stars and mosquitoes."
Wow.
Yep.
You should write.
Get the hell out. Anyway.
So, should we tell our listeners what is exactly, what it takes to make, what it takes to have sex with Jennifer?
Yeah, sex with Jennifer, you have to get her right. You can't just, slap some shit together and think Jennifer is going to be responsive. That's for damn sure. No. She's very, very precise, and I will share our how to get Jennifer on your side. In a highball glass with ice, you will place in 1.5 ounces of rum, actually coconut rum to be specific. 1 ounce.
We're using Malibu.
Yeah, we are using Malibu. 1 ounce of triple sec. 1.5 ounce. My new lips. 1.5 ounces of vodka. 1 dash of Grenadine, and then you top it off with pineapple juice and mix it up.
Oh my God, this is so good. This is really good.
It is. It's very, very, very good.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're having sex with Jennifer.
I have a feeling that this is so much better than the Peeps on the Rocks.
Oh yeah, I mean the ingredients to Peeps on the Rocks looks actually very tasty to me, but the peep who's, just lounging on the top like a dead thing wasn't very appealing. And for those of you listening, we had initially said we were going to try Peeps on the Rocks as a drink we found on Edge of the Net when we were doing a little Twitter business. And we decided after that, no, maybe not so much, because no, that Peep was just gross.
I don't even know what half of this stuff is. I mean, I know what sour apple liqueur is, but I don't know what blue curacao liqueur tastes like, and I don't know that I think I'd really like tropical banana rum.
What? Rum? You kidding me? It can't be that bad. It's rum. Come on now.
But I don't really care for banana.
You don't?
No, I like bananas, but I don't like banana-flavored anything. Taffy, pudding, popsicles, none of that.
Edible underwear.
Oh, God. And I just can't... All I can think about is melty, matted hair. I can't do it.
Oh, that's so wrong.
It is wrong. I don't ever want to think about that again. You need to change your Facebook profile photo because it creeps me out every time I see it. Not to mention it's from like 1972.
It's the only one I can find. It's the only one I can find that would actually, meet the requirements for the photo pic size.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do?
Buy a pair and throw them on the table or something. I don't know, but that just creeps me out. Change your picture.
All right.
You.
And speaking of Twitter,
I've been having a blast with that thing.
Yeah. Rev and I are both on Twitter. If you guys are interested, Rev is using several names, actually, several accounts.
I'm gonna close out the Lesvik Rev one.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm not going to use that anymore because everybody that I really want to follow is using it's Cocktail HR. So yeah, I just really do that one, and then I have a personal one where I track my family and people.
Oh, okay. So we don't want to give that one out.
No, that's just mine. But the Cocktail HR one, and then there's you got one going.
I do. Mine is Peyton Andrews. I'm trying to use my pen name a little bit more. Speaking of using the pen name, a couple things of note. The first year I decided to attend GLS, or GCLS.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Yeah, GCLS. Sorry.
How many times have you had sex with Jennifer?
Yeah, she and I had 3 rounds. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Okay, so the first time I went to GCLS, I don't know what I was thinking, but I went under my actual birth name. Can you believe that crap?
No, I can't.
I know, right? And so
we knew each other for months before I found out your name.
So the second year I went, I decided, oh, dumbass, let me just go under my pen name. So people were totally confused. They're thinking, it's just bitch schizophrenic? What the fuck? So, yeah, I've been trying to work on the whole, identity pen name thing and trying to boost up the whole, PR aspect of it. And it's just tough because, it's just easier to go by my real name. Going by Andy, it's really cool because it's an abbreviation of my birth first name, and it's like a abbreviation of my pseudonym last name.
Mm-hmm. I caught that.
Yeah.
Initially, I didn't know what your birth first name was. I assumed that your last name was Andrews until you called me one day and used your first name, like your whole first name, and I was like, oh, subterfuge. I get it.
That's too damn funny. I said it to somebody the other day. I forget who the hell it was. It was completely by accident. I went, oh, oops. Shit, the jig's up.
Yeah.
But, my father would probably roll in his grave if he found out that I have thrown my Italian heritage away to go for an Anglo-Saxon pen name.
Yeah. I'm a little ashamed for you.
Oh, thanks.
So, there you go.
There you go. So this podcast, we're reviewing 2 works of fiction.
And they're both kind of military in theme. One is, they're both set in the future, but vastly different futures. The first is Whatever Gods May Be by Sophia Kell Hagin, and the next one is Past Imperfect by Fletcher DeLancey.
So isn't this Sophia's very first novel?
It's her first published novel. Sophia wanted to be on the show with us, but for technical reasons wasn't able to. So I corresponded with her a bit and got a little bit of information on her process and why she wrote this story and what might be coming in the future. And one of the things that she told me is that she actually has another novel that she's written. It's available for free on her website. So I'll be sure to put that in. Excuse me, I'm getting a little sick. I'll be sure to put her website link on the show notes so that you can go and read that.
Excellent.
Yes.
And Fletcher DeLancey has been writing fan fiction for quite a while, and she has Past Imperfect is the very first of a series of 5 stories, and then she had, at least that I recall, one offshoot story from a character that she presented in one of the Voyager fanfic stories, one of the characters anyway, and it's called Without a Front.
Is that the one that was published?
I don't know.
I think she has one published book. Here, that's a good place for me to drop this in. I started a Goodreads group for Cocktail Hour, where I've got little discussion sections set up for all the books that we've discussed. And when I was looking at Fletcher DeLancey stuff, only one published book came up, and I believe I read some comments where somebody had said that they couldn't believe that, she's such a great writer that there would only be one published book. So I don't know, I may be wrong.
Well, I got to say though that unless Fletcher got the approval of whatever powers that be that owned Star Trek Voyager, she certainly couldn't publish the fanfic stories.
Well, that's not necessarily true. I mean, if you look at, you only have to change a little bit. Look at L.J. Moss with one of her Conqueror stories that got the first of the Conqueror series that she did got published.
Well, no. I mean, intact as they are.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, if she changed it up, sure, she certainly could. And she is a fabulous writer. And I actually sent her an email a little bit, too late for her to respond to my entreaties to come on Cocktail Hour. So who knows? We might hear from her in the future.
Okay, so it looks like Without a Front was published. So she must have changed it around a bit, but
I would imagine so.
So there you go. Okay. All right. So which book do you want to start with?
Let's start with Sophia's book.
Okay. All right. Whatever Gods May Be. I read the blurb on the back, and it didn't ring true to me with what the book was actually about. I don't have the blurb, and I suppose I could find the blurb in front of me, but
it doesn't do the story justice, is what you're saying.
It almost gives the impression that this is almost a romance.
What?
And it. Hold on now. Let me just. Here's the synopsis. Just break it in. Hold on now. All right. Okay. Here we go. Jamie Gwynne Morgan doesn't believe in prayer. She doesn't believe in anything much, except that people can't be trusted. Certainly not anyone she's ever met. But Jamie knows some things from experience. She knows if she died, no one would give a damn. No one would even notice. She knows the better she can fight, the safer she'll be. And that's why she can't resist the sleek, dark lethality. I think that's right. Charlie? Can we get a ruling? That's okay, don't worry about it. I'm going to go with that, lethality of the weapon. And the recruiters promise that, yes, if she's strong enough, good enough, she'll get to fire that weapon in combat. She doesn't care about the uniform, and screw the pretend camaraderie. Only safe matters. And if she can do combat, then maybe she can fight her way to safe. Jamie expects a grueling fight that she might lose. What she never expects is to win love. Well, okay, I guess maybe that. Okay, reading it again now after I finished the book, I guess I guess that really does fit.
Holy crap! Okay. That was like the entire book encapsulated, for Christ's sake.
Kind of, but not really. And
you almost didn't have to read the book. Hello.
No, I don't agree with that at all. You know, when I first read the synopsis. When I read the last part, Jamie expects a grueling fight that she might lose. What she never expects is to win love. I took that to mean romantic love. But reading the book, this book is not a romance. It's almost an anti-romance. This book is, Jamie Gwynne Morgan has a very troubled youth. She's at 17 years old, she joins the Marines. And this is a different Marines than I joined when I was 17 years old. This apparently happens in the future where don't ask, don't tell is not an issue, and the women and men recruits train together. They live together. Jamie gets out of boot camp and goes to sniper school, and then is shipped out to do her job as a sniper in a war going on in the Philippines. This is like guerrilla warfare. There's not it's kept away from the civilian population. This is a war that's fought in the jungles, in the bush, and she doesn't trust anybody, and not at all. You ready? You want to talk about it now?
Sure. I have never been in the military. I've never served in my country in that manner. And this book, there's parts of it that I absolutely loved. There's parts of it that I was like, oh shit, and there's parts of it that was like, no. So it was a very challenging book for me because I had no military point of reference. So it
was challenging for me with a military.
Well, I sometimes got lost in the acronyms, talking about military maneuvers in a little bit more detail than I expected, because I certainly am not a reader of fiction like Tom Clancy or any of the other super spy novel kind of guys and gals, whoever they may be. So, and that one kind of surprised me and took me back. But, I mean, that was nice because I always like to be a bit surprised. But I had to force myself not to skim over parts because I knew I was going to be talking about the book. I liked Jamie's journey overall. I enjoyed watching her grow from being in basic training to where the story ended. She had definite obstacles and hurdles, but in some ways, the way the writer chose to present her story, it almost seemed like, and forgive me, but it almost seemed kind of almost like a journal.
When I first started reading it, when she's on the bus, and that part, and that's the reason why I contacted the author in the first place, because my experience with, they drive you around Paris Island in the dark, and then so you're very, that they're driving you around, but you're very disoriented. You don't know where you are, and then as soon as the bus stops, the drill instructors, one of them will come onto the bus and start yelling at you to get on their yellow footprints. And it's very much just like she described it. There's a lot of confusion, and you're running to get off the bus. And I remember that when I got off the bus, I accidentally ran into the person standing in front of me. And I said, excuse me. And the drill instructor bent down and got right in my face and yelled at me and said, "There is no excuse for you. Get on my yellow footprints." And, that experience never leaves me. But, the first half of the book was difficult for me to get into. I had a very difficult time getting into the story because, like you said, it was very, very filled with acronyms and just so much detail,
like military procedure.
Yeah. And I mean, if I had a hard time getting into it and I understood and was able to relate to a lot of that, I can't imagine how difficult it must have been for you.
Yeah, it was a little tough.
Actually, because of some of the detail was so incredibly accurate, like the whole issue with the yellow footprints and the gas chamber experience. I'll never forget my gas chamber experience. And I shared this with Sophia. I said, they tell you, you go in, you have your gas mask on. They tell you that you're going to have to take your gas mask off and then don and clear it, and take it off for a few seconds and then clear it, put it back on and clear it, and don't breathe, don't open your eyes. So as soon as I get in there, we're all standing around there. Oh, this isn't so bad. This isn't so bad at all. Okay, everybody take off your gas mask. First thing I do, open my eyes and take a deep breath. But she did have a lot of the detail, a lot of the acronyms, a lot of those things absolutely correct. So I sent her a message on Facebook, and I said, were you in the Marines? Because this is very, very good. And she had never been in the military at all. She did, she had got this idea and started thinking about, what makes somebody enlist in the military voluntarily? What types of things go through that person's mind, and then to go into war. And she did all of this research online. She said that she went to different message boards and just got lots and lots of information. And she did a lot of research on the Philippines and on communication systems and weapons, and she did a fantastic job on research.
Yeah.
For somebody who was not in the military to get so much of it correct, it was amazing to me.
Yeah. Well, knowing that, you're absolutely right. Now, in hindsight, it's unbelievable that she was able to, relay that kind of level of detail in her story, not having been in the military.
So the first half of the book, I think for me, it was too bogged down in the, like you said, it was so much like a journal, and it was hard to really connect to Jamie and the other characters, but once she got out of sniper school, I could not put it down. I could not put it down. And, I don't want to give too much away. And the parts that I don't want to give away were the most compelling to me. The last half, I cried 3 times. It was, I think she did a fantastic job of showing the stress and the difficulty in maintaining your sanity through certain incredibly difficult situations. And again, I don't want to give away what happens, because
the very end felt a little disjointed to me.
I actually
I'm not saying it wasn't good. I'm not saying that what she, how she described what had happened when Jamie, right? Mm-hmm. Damn Jennifer. When Jamie was captured, but
I didn't want to say that.
Okay, well, that's all I'm saying. It just felt disjointed. The whole half, the second half of the book just felt a little disjointed to me. And
really?
please, listeners, don't take that as please don't read it.
That was the best part for me.
But it just.
What do you mean when you say disjointed?
It's like almost like flashes of what happened to her instead of a linear pattern of progression.
But she didn't. But that's how she experienced it.
Yes, I know that's how she experienced it, but it wasn't cohesive enough for me as a reader. There wasn't enough narrative, looking as a third-party narrative, for me to get the feel of a more cohesive pattern. So it felt disjointed. That's all I'm saying.
No, in the beginning, it really, honestly, it was a first-person perspective written third person. I think it could have. I think it should have been written in a first person, and maybe that would have eliminated that issue for you.
Maybe, but could you say that 3 times?
It was a first-person narrative written in a third.
Faster! Okay.
One thing that I thought that I don't think I've ever thought before when reading a book is I honestly thought that if Jamie had died, it would have fit perfectly.
Yes, actually, it would have.
I really, and I told the author that.
Yeah, but then you'd have the lesbian revolt.
But I don't think that was, when I mentioned it to Sophia, and I said, there's a point in the book where she's mortally wounded, but they bring her back, and honestly, I think that if the book had ended there, that it would have been very, very true to the character.
Yes,
and the
agree.
Theme of the story.
Yeah.
And she said that she had actually considered doing that, but let me pull it up and I can read to you what she said. And also, somebody on the Goodreads group had a woman named Michelle and I are having a ongoing conversation about this book while I was reading it. Let me see. She is, and this very nice woman, Michelle, had said that she would love to see a follow-up, and so I asked the author if that was in the works, and she said, yes, I'm working on a second story about Jamie. It's going a bit slower than she'd like. Jamie's not cooperating.
Not the true characters are... Oof.
Yeah.
Between the characters and the muse, honestly.
Those bitches.
I know, capricious bitches.
So when I asked her about it, she said that... let me see. No. Hold on. Don't go away. She says, okay, so getting past bad things and finding happiness and things like that. So getting there takes incredible strength, no small amount of luck and love too, I think. That's the next part of the story for Jamie, who had the strength, luck, and love not to die. I confess I shared your feeling that Jamie's story could finish with her going into the blue, but damn it, too many women's lives, too many lesbians' lives end that way. I wanted more for Jamie, for all of us. That means, of course, the peace Jamie felt when she died would pass. She has to face new challenges, new pain and fear, new failures. She has to overcome deep confusion and guilt and regret. But before her is the possibility of new hope, new love, new peace. I want to see her reach for that. I want to feel the power in her yearning, her struggle, her determination, her courage. I just hope I can do her justice. So It sounds like the follow-up to this is really going to be about Jamie facing her demons and learning that, she is worthy of love.
Sounds like an emotional roller coaster ahead.
Yeah, it does. And where you found it disjointed and a little tough, I found it. I think that the last part of the book, I really connected with Jamie and much more than I did at the beginning. So I really enjoyed it, and there was it's hard to talk about without giving away too much, but I really enjoyed it.
I did enjoy it. I don't want anyone listening to this podcast to think that I didn't. I didn't find it as fluent a read as I was used to. Mm-hmm. So I would advise anybody that enjoys a military type story, a human interest story, a life struggle story. Yes, most definitely buy this book. You won't put it down and go, oh shit, I wasted my money. It's definitely worth a read, no doubt about it. It's just not done in the way that I guess I'm used to, and it just felt a little bit disjointed to me. But the writer has a very powerful mastery of putting forth ideals and feelings and situations and occurrences, and it's definitely worth a read.
Absolutely. And you know what else that I enjoyed about this is that, the language that she uses, not talking about the military terminology or things like that, but the language itself, when she's describing things, it was a more mature language. It wasn't, a lot of the stuff that we read is it's just, a lot of just everyday, regular conversational language.
Yes.
This stepped it up a bit.
Yeah.
I felt.
Yep. I agree.
I'm looking forward to reading the follow-up, and I will get it.
Yeah.
And I'm also interested in looking at her website and seeing what that other novel is about, because I hadn't had a chance to do it before now.
Yeah.
But and whatever gods may be did she get a GCLS nod?
Yes.
Right?
Yes, she did.
So she's a finalist in the GCLS.
Yes.
And then, did she get a Lesbian Fiction Readers Award also?
That I don't know.
We'll have to check on that. But
yeah.
I'm thinking that she did.
She may have.
Hold on, I'm just going to look because it's bothering me now.
Oh, God. Charlie, you enjoying your cigarette? Damn it. I have 3 packs in the house, a pack at work and a pack in the truck. So it's not like I can't light up. But now I'm challenged because I'm like, God damn it, I have made it through 3.5 drinks and I still haven't smoked. So
if you can make it through that, you're going to be just fine. Well, I can't find anything. Oh, here we go. What's new? April 2000. Let me see. Sophia Kell Hagin, Whatever Gods May Be, did win a Lesbian Fiction Reader's Choice Award under the Favorite Lesbian Fiction General category.
Oh, yay.
So, congratulations.
Yay.
And, yeah, very, very good. I truly enjoyed it, and I was shocked when I found out that she had not been in the military.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Still having a hard time wrapping my head around.
Yep, that's amazing. And I got to tell you, that just is a testament to how well she did her research.
Yeah, I think that's been one of the biggest eye-openers for me doing this show and talking to, getting a chance to talk to some of these authors about the amount of, I had no idea, honestly, I swear to God, I had no idea how much research went into, especially when we talked to Colette.
She came up in a podcast again.
I I think I was, I had a really stressful week at work, and because I needed a good laugh, and apparently I'm incredibly vain. I put on episode 13, or well, I guess I could say that differently. I wanted to spend some time with friends, so I put on episode 13, and I was listening again to Colette talk about how much research that she's done on all of her books. And
Colette is so entertaining. There are times that I wish she were a neighbor. You know what I mean?
No, because I'd never spent any time with my family.
Oh my God, she must be hilarious to live with. I don't know how her Roman Slayer SO. I don't know how she does it. I would be cracking up all the damn time.
But you can't be on like that all the time.
No, I'm sure that her SO gets to see her at the vulnerable, not on her game, Colette. But still, come on now.
Yeah, I suppose. But the point is that...
Oh, wait, there's a point?
Yeah, this started out talking about research. I never realized how much time, the authors of the books that I'm reading put put into getting the details right. Details that most of us just kind of gloss over.
Well, we take it for granted.
We do, absolutely. Absolutely. And this, whatever gods may be, really hammered it home to me, particularly after finding out that Sophia Kell Hagin is not prior military. It was amazing to me, because if you can fool somebody who was in the Marines for 6.5 years, I gotta take my cover off to you.
Yep, a bow to Sophia.
Absolutely,
no doubt.
So go buy the damn book.
Go buy the damn book, people. And while you're at it, just before you make that transition to sit down and relax and enjoy the book, make a concerted effort to buy the alcoholic ingredients and have sex with Jennifer while you're enjoying your story.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Okay, so now that moves us to our next story, Past Imperfect by Fletcher DeLancey.
Before we start reviewing her story, I have a little tidbit to share. That it was one of the tipping points for me buying a Mac computer instead of a new Windows-based operating system.
Yeah.
Was because of Fletcher. She wrote a short story, it's out on the net, about Mac versus PC. And it was a charming story. And it just...
Sorry, I'm not actually listening to you. I'm looking now
thanks,
for
yeah.
a...
Okay, so I'm entertaining Charlie. Anyway, so it was really, really cool.
We haven't told anybody that Charlie is actually on the line with us.
Well, I might just edit this part out anyway.
Well, it would be nice to let everybody know that, she's here.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, it was one of the things that solidified buying a Mac to me.
So let me ask you a question real quick. And this is pertinent to the show.
Okay.
So do you think that raspberry vodka would be okay with this?
No.
Really?
Mm-mm. Not because of the pineapple and the grenadine. I don't think it would do well. But try it and let me know what you think.
But you know what? I could leave the grenadine out.
Yeah, you could.
Where's Colette when we need her? Oh, Jesus.
And, I really got to play Dragon Age 2 because she's already mentioned it again after I talked to her SO about, did you guys play DA2? And I'm like, what the fuck is DA2?
I was there. I remember that.
I know. So, I downloaded it from Xbox, so I got to play it, and then I got to, report it into the SO. Okay, Rev, let's do a summary of Past Imperfect.
Okay. Past Imperfect by Fletcher DeLancey. This is a Star Trek Voyager fanfic, and that's a show I've never seen, really, and I've never read any other Star Trek Voyager or any Star Trek fanfic at all. But this was kind of my payback from making Andy the SVU fic.
Oh, please.
And so essentially what the story is about is Voyager comes upon a disabled ship. They scan it and find that there is a human life source on board. So they go on, they get the stasis tube, and they bring it on to the Voyager. And inside is a woman who's been there for 375 years. Her name is Lynn Hamilton, and she and Captain Janeway develop a friendship and fall in love with each other, essentially. And it's pretty much about their developing relationship and getting to know each other, and really, I suppose it's primarily about Janeway learning to trust this other woman, and to kind of let go of some of her control, which she seems not to be able to do very easily. Let's just go from there.
Okay. Yep. I have to say that somebody, and I don't remember who, told me about this series, and when I first went onto the site, I thought, what, Voyager, what, Star Trek? No. But I trusted my friend's recommendation and read the first of this series, and I was captivated. I could not stop reading it. And of course, because there are 5 in the series, I couldn't stop. It was almost like a compulsion, like smoking. It was a compulsion that I couldn't let go. And
just in case any of you are wondering, our dear Andy has not had a cigarette in 3 days.
Yeah,
is that right?
3 days.
So she's a bit off tonight, but I'm very proud of her, and we talked about this before the show. I'm very, very proud of her, and I know that you can do this. So I just wanted to throw that out there, just to acknowledge it. Anyway, we can just move on.
Okay,
I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Thank you, Rev. It's really quite difficult to give up this habit, and I've heard that it's harder to give up cigarettes than it is to give up heroin, and I can really relate. And
it's because you can't find heroin in any store.
Isn't that the damn truth? Damn it! Legalize drugs. Okay, so anyway, so the series, this Voyager series that Fletcher did was outstanding, and I had no. It's like that SVU fic that we read for the past show. I had no point of what's the word I'm looking for?
Point of reference?
Yes, I had no point of reference because I had not watched the show. So I was so totally enthralled and amazed by how Fletcher was able to weave these stories and these characters and bring you, right into the midst of what was going on. It was almost like, they were in your living room when you're reading it. And it was so compelling that I wound up buying every single Voyager DVD set that was out there. I think there was 6 seasons, I'm sure. I think 6, maybe 6.
I've
7.
still not watched any, but I do agree with you 100%. Fletcher DeLancey, I can't believe that I balked at reading her work, and I had heard from lots and lots of people that that she's a great writer, and you are absolutely right. I started this yesterday, and I have not been able to put it down for a day and a half. And you are absolutely right. Like from the first scene, from the very first page, I was immediately drawn in, and I have no idea who the hell any of these characters are. I mean, I have enough of a frame of reference to be able to visualize Captain Janeway and 7 of 9, and then the chief engineer. I know what she looks like just from being in the world. You see the pictures. I mean, I know what Jerry Ryan looks like.
Right.
But there were less than a handful of instances where I don't know, they were references to previous shows that I wasn't able to relate to, but she does such a good job of explaining very briefly, mind you, in one case what happened. So I really didn't feel like I was missing out on anything, and I feel like I got a pretty good understanding of the personalities involved in this show, and I absolutely do want to check out the show now.
Well, I got to tell you, the show pales in comparison to Fletcher's stories.
Really? Jesus, that says something.
There is no doubt. Because I had gotten through, after I read all 5 of her stories, that's when I bought the series. And I started watching it, I think I got to season, whatever it was when Jerry Ryan first appeared, to 7 and 9.
I don't know.
And I don't remember when it was season 3, I'm not sure. But whenever it was, I watched that entire season. And then after that, the next one, I was like probably about a quarter of the way through, and I went, oh, fuck, this is bogus. I'm thinking to myself, why couldn't Fletcher have been in the inner circle and written for this show? Because it would have been a shitload better.
I'm telling you, I mean, she really is able to bring out the characters, their relationships. The way she describes Janeway's isolation and how she really is for 5 years just really alone, even on a ship of 140 some odd people, because of her responsibilities as captain. You feel that, and she doesn't dwell on stuff really in in a really deep kind of way, but she gets it deep enough that you're able to understand.
Yes.
You're able to feel. You're able to empathize with that character.
Yep.
And when she's describing like the trials that Lynn went through when trying to become part of the security detail so that she could go on away missions. She did a great job of describing what was going on in the holodeck without getting bogged down and so many details that you kind of lose interest.
Exactly. Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
I'm really happy that you decided to push this one upon me.
I'm really glad, and I hope that you take the time to read the sequels, because each one stands on its own as remarkable.
Really?
None of them are redundant, and they introduce a character in the second book or the third one, a Revi Sandovar, who has enough of her own baggage, but becomes a very, very interesting and compelling character on her own, and how she interacts in this very, very close circle of friends. And the journey of Lynn and Catherine Janeway is just incredible. Just incredible.
I think she did a great job of. Now, I'm assuming that Lynn has never been on an episode, that this is a character purely in that's of the author's creation. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Yes.
She, without me ever having seen the show or knowing anything about how Captain Janeway is portrayed on the show, I don't think she could have created a more perfect contrast, to her. Well, not really contrast, because they're very much similar, but a better partner for her.
Yes, I totally agree.
I'm really impressed. I really am. The technical aspects of the story of the writing are great. Didn't see any errors. I didn't see any.
I don't recall having seen any either.
It's tight. It was very good. I'm really happy. I'm very happy. Thank you.
Yeah, well, you're more than welcome. I'm really glad that you enjoyed it. And for those of you out there listening, Fletcher has her own site, and she really appreciates if you download her stories to your e-reader, because she has it set up so that you actually can do that.
Really? On her site she does?
Yes, she does. www.FletcherDeLancey.com, and Delancey is spelled with DELANCEY. And, go in there and download her stuff, and make sure that you send her an email and tell her how much you like this story, her series of stories.
Well, I'm going to have to do that because I know that there's reviews of a few of her stories, I believe, on the fanfic review site. Mm-hmm. But I didn't write them and I didn't read them, so I don't know if that makes me a bad person or not.
Well, it's probably because you had no point of reference. It's like me with SVU fic.
It'd be like me trying to get you to read Bad Girls. I mean, there's some fantastic Bad Girl stories out there.
I stay away from prison stories like the fucking Black Plague.
But the best Bad Girl stories are after. There's no prison involved. They're either Ubers. Like, okay, the woman that wrote the SVU fic that you read, we read for the show, and you enjoyed that.
I did.
Her Bad Girls stories are my absolute favorite. They all take place outside of the prison.
Well, then send me a link. I'll read something.
I don't know where any of her stuff is anymore, but I have copies, so I will send them to you.
Okay. Because you're my friend. Oh, thank you.
I would maybe someday really like to have a Bad Girls Day. Do you know that? I mean, it's a small fandom, but they're insanely loyal and very active.
Oh, my hell. That's all well and good, but do you realize we never even talked about the sex in those books? That's just, I know, right? That's just not going to fly. What the hell were we thinking? Here's the sitch.
What's the sitch, bitch?
The sitch in the Sophia novel for sex was Okay, but the sex in the Past Imperfect was hot.
But it only happened twice.
It was still hot.
Okay, yes. The first sex scene was more in depth. And then they did a lot of, they're having a lot of sex, but we don't get to know anything about it. And then I think they had sex a couple more times that we were able to, I don't want to say partake in, because that sounds a little...
Right? Oh, my God. Wait till you get to the next book. Is it the next book in the series? It's either the next book in the series or the one that follows it. And I'm going to edit this out. Lynn and Janeway get married, and on their honeymoon...
Don't tell me.
Listen. On their honeymoon, they get a gift. Oh, my God.
Is it like the gift that Charlie and Rebecca got?
Honey, it's the best phallus in the fucking world.
Is it a 7-foot dildo with a Hitler mustache?
No, but trust me, it is the bomb. If they could sell this kind of dildo on the internet, oh my hell.
Really? Well, they had advanced technology then.
Oh yeah.
Well, you don't have to edit any of that out.
I'm just saying.
Okay, so next time, are we done talking about Past Imperfect?
What? No, come on now. Yeah, okay, so we talked about that.
I think we talked about it enough. I mean, we went on and on and on about how good it was.
Okay, good, all right.
Which it really was.
It was good.
It was very good. It was good.
It was awesome.
It's almost as good as Sex with Jennifer.
Yeah.
Now, I did get a response, not from Colette.
What? Where is that beast?
I don't know where she is. Maybe
she's having fun with the Roman Slayer.
I don't know. Maybe so. Maybe she's playing Dragon Age. Okay, so this is the question I posted. Can I use raspberry vodka when having sex with Jennifer? And Jersey Biker contributed, you can and you should. But I'm not sure if Jersey Biker understood that this was an actual drink or if I just wanted to use raspberry vodka while having sex with someone named Jennifer, which of course I would never do because my wife's name is not Jennifer, and she frowns on me having sex with people
I would
other
think,
than her.
Hello, yeah.
So, there you go. I don't know what the answer is.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
I'm almost done with... I'm almost to my climax.
Oh my God, really? Because I'm done with drink number 4. I need more drink. Damn it!
Oh, hold on. Let's finish this so that you can...
Oh, it's not going to be near as fun.
I know. But it'll be okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, I believe we're done talking about Past Imperfect.
All right, fine. We're done.
Here's what I say about Past Imperfect. If you haven't read it, if you've been holding out on reading Fletcher DeLancey for any reason, put your reasons aside. Go download it. If you feel like you already want to go out and buy something, buy her book. I got to tell you, I think if this is any indication, it's well worth the money. I'm telling you. But yeah, I'm very, very impressed, and I'm sorry that I waited so long.
Yeah, she's amazing. And maybe, who knows, sometime in the future, we might be able to get her to come on and talk a little bit about her work.
Maybe.
Any idea about what kind of cocktail you'd like to have on the next show?
We've been taking a lot of drink suggestions.
Yes, we have. So,
we're up for that.
Mm-hmm. We're always up for drink suggestions, even if they are not coming from Call It Moody.
No more twatinis. Although it was good.
Yeah, it was
good. And I felt a little abused, I gotta say, last night.
Really?
When you guys were ripping on me for my not wanting to have another Chambord drink.
Yes, that's just sacrilegious.
I don't think so. It's expensive and it tastes like Robitussin to me.
It does not taste like Robitussin. What's wrong with you?
I said to me.
That's what I'm saying. What's wrong with you?
To me.
Oh my God, sister, that stuff is divine.
All right. Well, speaking of divine.
And why isn't my picture of my toy chest up on Cocktail Hour?
I haven't. I've been so busy.
Wench.
I really have. I have not booted up. This is the first time I've had my laptop booted up in a week.
What?
Yeah, I've seriously just been insanely busy.
Yeah, it's not right.
There are some modifications I want to make to the website. Hey, do we want to talk about the bar rag?
Let's talk about the bar. Okay, yeah, good idea. All right.
All right. You're inebriated. I want you to talk about the bar rag so I can pick on you later.
Okay, good. Listeners, we had thought that we would do an e-zine that would come out quarterly, and we were very hyped, and we actually consulted with one of our very favorite author friends. And about a week later, I was searching the web and found out, oh my hell, Kissed by Venus decided to do the same thing.
But I'm sure they did it a lot better than what we would have done.
They have
take
more.
My hand off to take my hat off. I don't take my hand off, but I take my hat off to them.
Yes. And they have more financial resources to have those glossy, really sexy looking chicks up there on their site. And
we just have me and Andy.
Yeah, there ain't nothing sexy about that. But okay, so what we've decided, we've gone back to the drawing board and said, let's go with our original idea, which involves two things: more audio and perhaps a little video. So you're wondering, what does that audio include? Okay, wonder no more. Here's the idea. You guys out there who are listening have to be somewhat creative. Come on now, you are. So we thought, what about having you guys, and us too, maybe, espouse jokes, funny stories.
If you have projects you want to share.
Projects, rants, what the hell ever. There's nothing.
You're the Queen of England and you want to talk about, how much you love the show.
Yeah, exactly. Then you could maybe make a little audio short, email it to us at our cocktail hour Addy, and we will put them together and put them out as a little supplemental to our show, so that they're on iTunes. Hello, you get a little voice action. Put them on iTunes, and we're going to call it the Bar Rag. Right?
I love that name.
I know, right? Yep. So, come on, you guys know you want to have a voice. You want people to hear it. Let's get out there and start thinking about what you want to record and send to us.
All Bar Rag entries will be subject to management review.
That's true, because it has to still be respectful. I mean, you can have your rant, you can talk all you want about what you want to talk about, but it has to be respectful.
Seriously, if I know that there are authors and filmmakers and community activists that listen to the show that may want some assistance in getting the word out. This might be just an additional way for you to do that. And if you need some assistance in recording, drop us a line, let us know. Andy takes care of our recordings. There's no problem with she or I getting with you on Skype to help you out. Mm-hmm. If you just want to record something, send it to us in an MP3 format, and we'll clean it up for you and put it out there.
Yep. Most definitely.
So, there you go.
Yay!
And we're looking forward to having Moody do something regularly, because, she loves talking.
Yeah, she does.
And she's usually moderately funny.
Yeah.
So
moderately funny. She's going to get you for that.
She might make you giggle a little bit. Maybe we can get her to do like a joke of the week or a drink of the month, or I don't know,
something,
some bizarre thought process of the quarter. I don't know.
Yeah, something, you never know.
Yeah, so there you go. And I believe we're going to start possibly posting some short videos. Andy is a fledgling iPhone videographer.
Yeah.
Videographer. Mm-hmm. So, you never know. You never know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. That's true. So, keep your eye on our website, because you don't know what new and exciting things are going to pop up.
But probably not until next week, because I'm really busy.
Yeah, well, yeah, there is that.
All right, then.
Okay. Oh, and before we go, Rev, I have an announcement to make. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Your announcement. What is your announcement, Andy? What's going on?
Well, tonight is the joining of our friends, Winter Pennington and her fabulous partner, Rebecca Sharon.
That is awesome. Mm-hmm. Congratulations, ladies.
Yep.
I'm so happy for you.
Me too. They are such a fabulous couple.
Absolutely. I wish you all of the happiness possible. Congratulations.
Yep. And on that note, boy, 2 weddings in like 2 days. Woohoo!
I know. If only the Queen would have called them.
Right? Damn.
Maybe we can call her up and ask her if she'd wish Rebecca and Winter congratulations. Maybe she'd do it.
I'll work on it.
Absolutely. That would be fantastic.
I'll work on it.
Excellent.
All right. Well, Rev, this show has been a lot of fun.
It certainly has.
Mm-hmm. And, we're just going to have to invite Jennifer to come back more often.
I agree. She's a delicious, lusty woman.
Mm-hmm. Anyway. So we decided on 2 different sets of stories, and we decided, no, we don't want to do those. We're going to do 2 different stories. I mean, I know. That's how we roll. People, that's how we roll.
It usually takes us a good half an hour to figure out. Maybe sometime we should sit down and plan a few shows ahead.
Nah, it takes the spontaneity out of it.
Very true, very true.
So, what have we settled on yet again?
We have settled on, we're going to do Death by the Riverside by J.M. Redman, which is the first in the Mickey Knight series, and Second Son by A.K. Natton.
Yay! This will be my first Redman.
Yeah, and I know that you've got some reservations about it, but I think anybody who's read her work will vouch for me when I say that the Mickey Knight series is just fantastic, very, very good, and I don't think that you'll be disappointed.
Yay!
Because really, who wants to be disappointed?
I know, right? Who really
exactly.
wants that? Yeah. Well, thank you, listeners, for tuning in for another show, and come back, spread the word, spread the love, tell your friends, your enemies. We're not picky.
Anybody who will listen, really.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
All right, and we'll see you all again in 2 weeks.
All right, bye.